night was quiet, the kind of silence that made every ripple on the lake sound like a heartbeat. David Miller sat by the water's edge, his eyes fixed on the shimmering reflection of the moon. 10 years ago, this piece of land was nothing but a barren patch, mocked by neighbors as worthless. Even mosquitoes won't settle here, they used to say. But David had seen something in it, a vision. With sweat, patience, and unyielding determination, he transformed the wasteland into a sanctuary. Trees stood tall where there was once dust. Soft grass now covered the earth. A small wooden dock stretched into the lake where boats swayed gently. To David, this place wasn't just land. It was his life's identity, his proof that persistence could carve beauty out of emptiness. But dreams are fragile things. And soon, someone decided his dream didn't belong to him. Her name was Linda Brooks, head of the community council, powerful in her charm, sharper in her words. She began whispering to the townsfolk that David's sanctuary was illegal, that he had stolen public land for his own gain. Her voice carried poison, yet it was disguised with a sweetness that people couldn't resist believing. Slowly, neighbors who once shared laughter with David started shifting away, their eyes filled with doubt. At first, David laughed off the rumors. This will pass, he told himself. But when whispers turned into official council meetings, his laughter faded. One evening, while watering his trees, his old friend Mark Johnson arrived, his face pale. "David," he said softly, "you don't realize what's happening. Linda has turned the whole community against you. They think you're an intruder, a thief." The hose slipped from David's hand. A thief? This land? This sanctuary? I built it with my bare hands. Can't they see that? Mark shook his head. They see, David, but they're afraid. Linda holds power. She knows how to bend people. That night, David didn't sleep. He stood by the lake, staring into the reflection of the trees he had planted. Was it all about to be ripped away from him? The first council meeting arrived. The hall was crowded, tense, suffocating with judgment. Linda stood at the front, her voice ringing with authority. This is not just about one man, she declared. This is about all of us. David Miller has used our land for his selfish projects. He has damaged our lake. He must be held accountable. Murmurs spread like wildfire. Some nodded, some looked uncertain. David rose to speak, but Linda cut him off. You will speak when it's your turn, Mr. Miller. The words sliced through him. He looked around, searching for familiar faces, friends he once trusted. But all he saw were silent judges, watching him with suspicion. Still, deep inside, David knew the truth couldn't be buried forever. He would fight. The following weeks turned into a battlefield of words. David presented documents of ownership, photographs of his decade of labor, testimonies of how he revived the lake's dying ecosystem. But Linda countered every move, spinning half-truths into convincing lies. Neighbors began to avoid David on the street. Children who once played on his dock were now told to stay away. His sanctuary, his life, was becoming a prison of isolation. One night, David returned home to find broken branches, uprooted plants, and the dock vandalized with red paint. Thief! His hands trembled as he touched the ruined wood. For the first time, tears burned his eyes. He whispered to the trees, I built you. I won't let them destroy you. Mark came again, his voice urgent. David, listen to me. Linda is planning a final vote next week. If you lose, they'll take the land. David clenched his fists. Then I'll make them see the truth. Not with documents, not with speeches, but with the sanctuary itself. The night before the vote, David invited everyone to the lake. He lit lanterns that floated on the water, casting golden light across the ripples. He spoke not with anger, but with calm. You all know me, he began, his voice steady. This place was once dead. You laughed when I chose it, but look around you now. The birds, the trees, the life in this lake, it exists because I believed it could. I never stole from you. I gave you something none of us had before. Hope that even what seems worthless can be reborn. Silence fell. The crowd looked around, truly seeing the sanctuary for the first time. The sound of frogs croaking, fireflies dancing, and the scent of wildflowers filled the air. It was undeniable. David had given life, not taken it. Even Linda, standing in the back, felt her confidence waver. Her words suddenly seemed small against the undeniable truth that stood before everyone's eyes. The next day, the vote was cast. By a narrow margin, David won. The sanctuary remained his. When the announcement was made, David didn't cheer. He simply walked back to the lake, placed his hand on the old cedar tree he had planted a decade ago, and whispered, "We survived." Linda disappeared from the community's leadership months later, her influence broken. Mark stood by David's side, smiling. "You did it, David. You showed them." David shook his head softly. "No, Mark, the sanctuary showed them." And as the sun rose, painting the lake in shades of gold, David knew one thing for certain. Dreams may be fragile, but when built with love and persistence, they can outlast even the strongest storms.